Welcome to the podcast. My name is Brandon Stewart, and you are looking at this awesome space here in my studio, the Photolab. And we're in the heart of Arlington, Texas. And I'm joined today with a new friend of mine, Gary Nightingale. I found Gary because in this space, I needed a solution for the echo, which you don't hear right now. And Gary has built a company from the ground up, making acoustic panelings right here in Arlington also. And so it pretty much changed my life. I don't want to oversell it, but it was a game changer for sure in what he's built and the product he offers and how it solved my pain points here. And so he's the guest today. And he has some new products, and I wanted to make sure that or help him get his message and his product out there in front of new eyes because he really does some cool things. So welcome, Gary.
Appreciate it, Brandon. And what drew me to your place to begin with, and I live close by, and you had a great sign out front, Photolab, for creators by creators. And I'm like, what is this place? I got to check it out. And, I thought it was all about developing film or something. Like
right.
That. But I'm a creator, and I really pride myself on that. I'm the president of the company, co-founder, but more importantly, I'm the main creative guy coming up with new products all the time. And, one of them, which you reached out to me about, was the Pixel that we have on the walls here. And I think it's one of our best performing acoustical products, super easy. We slapped it on the wall and made all the difference in the world. So we're constantly coming out with new stuff. New product that I want to talk about today is called FAZR.
Yeah.
And I'll get to the name, how we came up with that in a minute. But I wanted to, talk a little bit about how it works and why we did it and kind of the nuances. And I know it's probably not your cup of tea, but,
Well, I know zero things about the world of acoustics, but they do what they're supposed to do. So I'm also fascinated by it. And so when you said that, you had a product that you wanted to share, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. We got to do an interview. And because I think when it comes to new products, like if you want to, you might not have a normal way to get into something, but if you can see how something works and why it works and how it's designed to function, and then the thought process, because since, like I said, like I don't know anything about acoustics, but that's your world. I'm fascinated by your mind also of like, dude, like when he walks into a room, what is he hearing? Like I hear whatever, but like this guy you hear things totally different. And so whatever this is, like I'm already into it.
Cool, man.
Yeah. So like I'm all for it.
Well, I pride myself not just on the acoustics, but I'm a very visual kind of guy, and the type of acoustics we make is highly aesthetic. So first and foremost, it's got to look cool. And I came across this idea from the association that I belong to called CISCA. Stands for Ceilings, Interiors, Specialty Ceilings, and Acoustics. Actually, I just got back from a trade show in Orlando this week with them. But part of that organization is you get to tour all these really cool facilities that make all these different type of acoustical products. And it just gives everybody in that association access to seeing new things. And we happen to be touring a metal facility. It's a well-known manufacturer called Rockfon. And they manufacture this really odd-looking piece of metal. It's called a symmetrical ceiling carrier. Okay. It is probably similar to what you would see in a standard building with like T-grid. So you've seen all these office spaces that have like generic ceiling tiles that drop into a grid. That's called T-grid. So this is something that kind of replaces that. It's a ceiling carrier. We actually hang product from it rather than dropping tiles into it.
Okay.
So I toured this place. I guess it would have been last July. And being the creative type, being the mechanical engineer, whatever, I was just constantly looking in their showroom and seeing all these different applications. And So what we do is with actually not metal, but we use a material called PET felt. It's a thick material that has acoustical qualities, but you can do a lot of stuff with it, cutting it, folding it, bending it, just making it into cool geometry. And the challenge has always been, particularly in the ceiling world, is how do you hang this? How do you clip it on? And to make it super easy for the installers, the people that buy it, make it super easy for the architects to spec it in. So, I walked away that day, and it didn't click immediately, but this is something that's readily used in big applications like airports, arenas, coliseum, schools, stuff like that. And you probably don't notice when you go through an airport, but you'll see miles and miles of stuff up in the ceiling. It's usually metal or some sort of acoustical material that covers up all the crap that you have up in there. So your wires, your HVAC, kind of like what you have outside this room here, right?
Right.
So, so in the ceiling world, you have what's called an open plenum and a closed plenum. So this room here is actually closed plenum. That means everything is covered. What you have out there in the hallway is open plenum, which is super popular right now because everybody kind of likes that industrial look. But, not everybody wants that exposed, all your ducts exposed and all your lights and wires exposed. So this product right here is actually a closed plenum solution.
Okay.
And so if you can imagine, this is just a small little mock-up of it, but these come in 8-foot planks and will clip up into this carrier up into a ceiling, right?
Are you installing these in any places right now, or are these like just for airports, or is this like offices?
We have just started the launch. It's actually going to launch in a couple weeks. The trade show that I just came from was kind of our official debut. But, we do a lot of different products, stuff that can be installed in something as small as this room for podcasts or conference rooms or offices. But we really tend to look at the big space, and we're really good at what we call tonnage products. So we like making products that can cover a vast amount of square foot. And FAZR right here is something that we consider to be a really good tonnage product.
Well, that's cool. So you said that name a couple of times, FAZR. So that's the name of the product, but where'd you get that name from?
So the name actually didn't come until I did a little mock-up in our factory, did like a 100 square foot space. And actually what's cool about this product too is we also stock the linear LED lights. So if you can imagine an element like this would be replaced with a light. Pull this out here. So, So once the mock-up was done and I looked up, there's these cool straight linear lines and the lights were kind of scattered throughout. And I'm a sci-fi nerd. And it just kind of reminded me of phasers, we like to be a little creative even with our names, and it's spelled FAZR. So we took the sound pronunciation of phaser and shortened it to that FAZR. But that was the inspiration.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also noticed like when being at your office before, how your like acoustic pieces like integrate with the lights.
Exactly.
And I just thought that was like super rad because again, I know anything about acoustics, but it always seemed like your product is meant to be seen and not just dissolve into the background.
Exactly.
And that was cool because it was like, okay, cool. Like here's kind of a boring thing, acoustic panels, but you made it your own. You found a creative angle to come in and then make it a focal point instead of just something that's supposed to be hidden and not seen.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that you integrated the lights, I was like, that's so genius. Like, that's so dope.
Yeah.
But just like, it's there. You're supposed to look at it. You're supposed to know it's there. And it just seamlessly does its thing.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
So a couple things that you mentioned, acoustical panels. So ultimately it is a panel, but we do a lot of cool stuff to not make it look like just a panel. And you also mentioned angle. So I think that's also that's my segue into this, right?
Sure, okay.
So We actually make 120 degree. Everything these days, you see a lot of right angles, a lot of squares and rectangles. So we decided to do some trapezoids. So the basis of this design is dovetail. So I think you know in carpentry what a dovetail is. But so the basis of the design is the carrier, which we buy from Rock Fawn. But the way we clip onto that carrier is with this 120 degree trapezoid that clips onto these hooks here. So you get this effect. And then the opposite of that are these 60 degree. Rather, this is 60 degree, this is 120 degree.
Okay.
So these just dovetail into that. So the reason why that's important is because not only do you want a cool looking ceiling, and all the colors are, we'll get to the colors in a minute, but what's important to the industry is the accessibility. So when you put something like this up in the airport, up in a school, every once in a while, you will need accessibility. Changing out air filters or something goes wrong up in the ceiling. You want to be able to take these down and put them back up when you need to. So that's the beauty of this design is these just get dovetailed in either by friction fit or you can just slide them out. And then just as easily as these clip into the carrier here, they can easily snap off. And,
okay. So it's like kind of like plastic pieces that it fits into.
Yeah. So
right there.
we have a patent pending on this. These little PVC plastic pieces that go onto our panels. They get fixed on with one screw. Also, these can locate anywhere on that 8 foot length, so that you can where this hangs, the installer can locate where these little clips go.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it makes it super easy to unhook, and there's also limitation with what inspired me for this design, which is the metal version of this. Usually when you take down the metal, you usually sometimes ding it because it's super thin sheet metal. It'll distort, it'll bend sometime, but that's the great thing about PET is it's got a lot of spring back. And
yeah, I'm sure that it'll be another successful product for, because, obviously you make a great product as evidenced by the acoustics in here.
Slide out before it falls out, but yeah, appreciate that.
And it just looks cool. So like, do you have different like designs made and like color palettes, or
Yeah,
is it,
exactly.
or do you make them to spec, or like what's the idea there?
Yeah, so what you see here is actually super popular right now. It's our wood grain. So we actually print on the PET panel. In this case, the wood grain. So again, when this is 10 feet, 20 feet up in the air, you want that kind of natural wood grain look, but not necessarily have to put a whole bunch of wood up into your ceiling.
Right.
So I highlighted the wood grain for this little example here, but we have a color palette of 36 different colors, whether it's kind of a heathered look like this or a solid look, all the grays and whites that you can imagine, but also the purples and the reds and the oranges and everything. So depending on where it goes, I think in the airport or something like that, it's going to kind of be toned down, but
it's very customizable for whatever your space is.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool. I think I know a place out here where you can test somewhere out.
Yeah, for sure. So we're excited about it. We're excited to be working with Photolab, and appreciate you giving us a cool space to promote. And
no, it's cool. Yeah, just to see it all in the real world, and then as people come in, it's an instant talking. I guess like a talk piece. Everyone comes in and talks about it, and you can't see it on the camera, but just like these are printed on, the pixels are printed with dogs. Which just generated. You said you did that from Midjourney.
We did that
Those
with
images?
AI. We punched in dogs wearing sunglasses.
Well, it's cool because everybody, like, so many people want to bring their dogs over here.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, whatever, right?
Dog-friendly place. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. So, well, cool. And then what's this shirt you got going on here?
Oh, yeah, man.
Willie and Waylon.
Yeah, so the shirt says Willie, Waylon, Waterberger, and Jeff Phillips. And I just bought this shirt, and I think Tony Hawk, or one of the skateboarders, really made it famous. But it's all about the famous legends of Texas. So you got Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, and, of course, got a few extra pounds from the Waterberger. And then Jeff Phillips is known as probably the best vert skater in all of Texas. So first and foremost, I'm a skateboarder, and
Okay, that was the follow up.
Yeah, this is my follow up, and so I thought this is a really cool shirt.
Awesome. Yeah, cool.
Well, I appreciate it, Brandon.
Yeah, anytime. We'll happy to do this again.